Exit 25, this is Fire Service Regular, South Session Road, and Timberland Gardens Lane. Exit 25, this is Fire Service Regular, South Session Road, and Timberland Gardens Lane.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Decaturish Download. I'm your host, editor, and founder, Dan Wisenhunt. Public Safety Director Darnell Fulham is joining us today for the special report to give us an update on what he's seeing in DeKalb County. Darnell, do I still get to call you Chief, or do I get to call you Darnell? What do you prefer now? Because you got a promotion.
I think that's the $1 million question that I've been asked. I don't mind Chief. I've been called Chief for over 25 years at various levels. So I don't think I can get used to
it. Yeah, I don't think I could get used to calling you anything else. So we'll just call you Chief Fulham until we can think of something better.
That's fine.
Chief Fulham, we're sitting here having a conversation. The power's on. I haven't looked at the power outage maps. What are the current conditions right now in DeKalb County relative to this storm?
Yeah, so relative to the storm, as far as power outages, the last report I saw, it was about 1,500 homes that were being impacted by power outages. I'm sure that number is fluctuating at all times, as you can imagine. But we have seen, and I've been out on the road. I'm actually at one of our fire stations right now, sitting down with you. But as I've been out, you do see trees down. So I imagine some of those are going to continue to come down, and we will have random impacts to our power.
What is and first of all, if you're joining us online, welcome. If you have a question for Chief, put them in the comments. We'll ask him. This is a good time. We've got him for about 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. If you got questions, let them rip. We'll ask him. What are the road conditions right now? Can people get out and drive around? Should they be driving around?
Well, I have to be honest. I just said that I was out there on the roads. The roads right now don't look that bad. But anyone who's lived in Georgia, and last year was a perfect example, we know what happens here. The weather changes very quickly. The temperature changes very quickly. It is raining outside right now. That rain is going to freeze, and it's going to freeze on our roadways. So I would ask those that have already prepared to stay home. Don't go out. It's not worth it. One of the reports that I do have for you is that we had to close down the ramp from 285 southbound to 20 eastbound. Anybody that knows that area, there was a brand new flyover that was put in place, and that was having to be shut down due to ice. So it is out there. So once again, I'd recommend stay home. Don't go out there if you don't need to.
One of the questions we continue to hear is, are the roads being treated? Is somebody going out with brine? What's going on there in terms of the county's preparation for this?
Yeah. Every year we learn from storms that we've had in the past. And once again, we are right in the same moment of time as we had last year when we had that storm that really impacted a lot of folks. We had a lot of stranded vehicles, a lot of roads that were impassable. But I can tell you, our public works group, they have been out pre-treating roads as early as yesterday. Some folks may have noticed it, wondered why they're out there doing it so early, but that's what you have to do. You got to get ahead of it. They not only use salt, they use sand, and they do use the brine that we've become familiar with in recent times. And what they're doing, they have a list of priorities that include hospitals and the fire stations and the police, but they also include those known spots that they can expect to have issues with. Not just bridges, but those areas that may be shaded or other areas, those hills that we find challenging. So that list is what they're focusing on, but then they're also answering any calls they get for icing.
I think one question a lot of people have when they hear about the roads being iced and then they hear that schools are going to be closed on Monday. And of course, we all love our children, especially after having been on break with them for 2 weeks. Can't get enough of them. But we do think their learning is important. Why is the treating of roads not enough to keep the schools open on Monday and other days this week potentially?
Yeah, at the end of the day, trying to say that we're treating the roads and that we're able to get to every road. I always use the example, and believe me, I've lived on cul-de-sacs most of my life. But that cul-de-sac that somebody lives on is not going to be high on the list for getting treated. So we're going to focus on those primary roads first, and then get to those secondary roads. That's the same plan that the state has. The state will first concentrate on the interstate and then on those secondary state roads. And so it is a process. And once again, let's not forget, if it's raining or if it's snowing, the salt, the sand, the brine, it only has so much impact when the roads are being recovered as soon as they drive away. So that's why I believe it was important for us to go ahead and preempt that decision and keep our children out of harm's way.
Now, I have kosher salt. I've sprinkled the kosher salt on my steps in the hopes that I won't slip and embarrass myself and generate a funny security camera video. Is the kosher salt on my steps going to get it, or am I just wasting salt?
I don't know the science behind that. And Dan, you and I have had these conversations over the years. I'm from the north, and I can remember taking the table salt out and putting it on the steps, and it seemed to have some impact. But I do say that at some point, probably the best that you can do, if you have to go out, and that's the other part, if you have to go out, that then getting the salt that you can buy from a Home Depot or somewhere like that would have been the better choice. But I would say stay in your home.
I mean, kosher salt's great for cooking. I gotta imagine it's great for everything else. So you're from the north. Does our reaction to all of this amuse you in any way? Do you think we're overreacting? I know you've dealt with way worse weather than this.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I've lived in the South now for close to 40 years, originally from Pittsburgh, where there's hills and we deal with snow. But the difference here is that it changes so quickly. The temperature will go from, above freezing to below freezing and then back above freezing in a very short amount of time. And that's where I think is the difference. And anybody who comes from the north and comes south, they're probably not used to the ice. They're not used to the black ice. That's what makes it different. And so once again, if you're here for the first time and you're experiencing this, just realize it is totally different than what you could expect in those northern states where the weather won't get out of freezing for weeks, if not months at a time.
We got a viewer asking if they can use cat litter to de-ice. I've never heard of this. Is that a thing?
I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not familiar with cat litter being used. I guess once again, if you're using it as anything that's going to create some traction, then maybe that's true. But I will always go back to stay in your home if you don't have to go out.
Chief, you're a busy man, and I want to respect your time. Give us a preview of the next 24 hours. It seems like we've gotten through the first hurdle. We've got the rain overnight. It's cold and on the ground. What are you looking for over the next 24 hours, and how do you plan to respond to that?
Yeah, and I want to thank you and all of those outlets that are staying on top of this and getting the word out. As we've seen, the weather continuously changes. I was looking at some of the weather reports this morning, and I'm sorry for that back noise, but
no, you're a busy man. We understand.
They're actually responding to a fire right now. So those do happen during this weather as well. So, what I was going to say, as far as that 24-hour window, what we're expecting is some precipitation. There's even some risk of thunderstorms, at least maybe not in the metro area, but south of us. So that rain. But once again, we know the temperatures are going to go down overnight. And so that freezing is going to happen overnight. So that pre-treating is going to continue. As I was just saying, our fire, our EMS, our police, our animal services, they're all still out there responding to calls. And also, can I say, Dan, real quick, thank you to the citizens. We have not seen the increase in 911 calls that were non-emergency. That really helps us in being able to get to those emergency calls. So I want to thank the citizens for heeding our call.
You mentioned something I was actually about to ask about. When should someone call 911 right now? What are the conditions?
Yes, if it's a true emergency, and I know that's a can be very broad, but if it's a true emergency, then even during these times, we want you to call. If you have a true emergency where it's a medical emergency or it's an emergency such as a fire or something along that line, what becomes challenging is when we get those calls that are for information. We literally have people call 911 asking about weather. We have individuals calling asking about whether roads are closed. That's not the proper avenue. Let me also say this freezing fluctuation means that we're probably going to experience some pipes bursting. We really want you to know how to turn off your own water. And so if you haven't done that, if you haven't thought about it, excuse me, that is something that hopefully you'll be able to do and not call 911 for that emergency. It really is something that a plumber should be able to handle for you.
Real quick, I want to tell readers, the National Weather Service, you can actually call the Peachtree office and somebody will answer, and a meteorologist will be glad to answer your question. They have updates. Our media partner, Atlanta News First Weather, has done a great job of keeping people informed. Glennis Curry asks, is there a non-emergency hotline where people can get information about road closures and things like that so they don't tie up 911? Good question.
Yes, great question. They can call 311, and I am going to give the non-emergency number also for our 911 center. But they can call 311, which is probably the easiest route to take. And you mentioned too, it's so great to have that asset right there in Peachtree Center, and they do love answering the phone and talking about weather.
They're almost giddy when I call. They're almost like they've been waiting for my call all day. It's really cute. So if you really want to make somebody at the National Weather Service's day, give them a call and ask them about the weather. They will be delighted to tell you. Chief, did you find that number?
Yes, it's 770-724-7600.
7600. Non-emergency for people listening is 770-724-7600. Is that right?
Yes.
So if you have any questions that do not pertain to an actual emergency, call that number and they'll get you some answers. Of course, check your local media, check the local TV stations. Stay safe, stay off the roads if you can, and hang in there. We got another 24 hours of this at least. Chief, I appreciate you spending your time with us this morning. I know you got some other calls to get to, so I'll let you do that. And thank you, and holler at us if you need us to get the word out about anything.
All right, thank you for having me. And once again to everyone, please stay safe and stay home. Enjoy home today.
Thank you, Chief. This is the Decaturish Download. We just had a special report about the weather. Wanted to tell you real quick about our partners at Pastries A Go-Go. You know, Pastries A Go-Go has been around for a long time, and they just started serving espresso. They're really happy about it. It's really good. Also want to mention Pastries A Go-Go has parking, not for nothing. So if you get out after the storm passes and you want to get a nice breakfast, go visit our sponsor at Pastries A Go-Go. They help us do what we do and keep the news free for everybody. With that, we're going to wish you all a good Sunday. We hope you will all stay safe, stay off the roads. Don't tie up 911 with any kind of meaningless call, and basically pay attention to the weather, y'all. Stay informed and stay safe. We'll be back this Thursday for our regular edition of the Decaturish Download. It'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. We'll see you later this week, everybody.